Hello, guys, welcome to this podcast, Everyday Talkies, which ironically does not come out daily. I am Anshul and I talk about random things to random people, majorly about life, perspectives, and thinking process. It's like an interview, or let's say more of a conversation with one or two guests about random topics that interest us. To be really honest, it's just a way to reduce my inhibitions in talking to people. So come join me and enjoy. Hello, guys, welcome to the new episode of Everyday Talkies. Today, I am back with my guest Navdeep, whom all of you listened in last week talking about the farming industry in India and how there are certain problems which that industry faces and how that industry is undergoing the COVID scenario as well. So, this episode will try to focus more on Navdeep's efforts on how he came up with the idea of a startup and how did he make progresses there and what are the things which he does to help this industry in general. So Navdeep, over to you. We can start learning about your journey with Sangavari.
So actually, the story behind Sangavari is Sangavari started back in 2018. That's the time we officially get registered as well in November 2018. So actually, I belong from agriculture background and I had experienced all this ups and downs in agriculture industry from my childhood days, and I saw how my father used to deal with it or my family used to deal with all these ups and downs. Very younger days only, I realized that I have to do something about it. And then I moved to Bangalore and got a better understanding about the technology. And then I started working upon how technology can solve the problems in agriculture industry. And then I realized that to go ahead with this is only with a non-profit motive, and then I registered myself as an NGO, means the whole concept into an NGO, which is named Sangavari Agrotech Foundation. And then I was lucky enough to get a team in my college only. My own classmate helped me, and even Anshul helped me in my starting days.
Oh, come on, I was there only for a short period. I didn't even do much, but anything for you ever in the future, I'll always be there. It's such a noble initiative which all of us will be learning, so I'll always be there to support that.
The thing was, it was not only the efforts which people were putting, even the moral support was enough for us in the starting days. So likewise, many people supported me in my college, and even in people from the farming industry started realizing the need of NGO like Sangavari. So what we do in Sangavari is work upon all the emerging technologies which is being used in other industries like artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, and automation, then ERP systems. So we take all these technologies and we try to educate our youth in tier 2, tier 3 cities who are unaware about all this emerging tech and not able to make a good career in the tech industry. So we try to teach them all of this emerging tech with the help of people like Anshul or someone who is working into the industry and who are willing to give mentorship to all these students. And we keep one thing in mind to the volunteers, that we have to promote agriculture industry and agrotech industry while teaching them about all this tech. So if we use all this technology while making our few products in Sangavari, one of the product is Bhumi Sandur, which is a smart irrigation system, which I talked upon in the previous episode. Similarly, we have drone product line, which is being called Gagan Narak product line. And then we have this ERP system as well, which we are working upon, which is named as Khet Prabandhak. We teach them about all this emerging tech and we tell them how we are building it, and we try to give a practical approach to the learning while demonstrating them, applying their knowledge to make all these products which will be used to give at low cost or at free cost to the farmers. And it's win-win for both, for farmers as well as students also. So this is what Sangavari do into the agriculture space. And also one of the new things which we started is we actually started giving incubation to other agrotech startups which are coming forward and having solutions which is very much efficient and useful for the farmers. We are giving them space in our organization so that they can use all the resources available to Sangavari. They can actually come into the market with our support. So this is one of the new thing which we started in our organization. We incubated our first company. They have a very nice product about remote sensing using satellite images to analyze crop plant and the crops. If you guys also have very good idea which you guys are thinking is very much helpful for our farmers, you can reach to us and we will work upon it, how to deliver it into the market, how to make it more efficient for the farmers. Yeah, that's all what we do in Sangavari.
Thanks, Navdeep, for telling us what Sangavari is and how did you came up with it. But could you also talk to us about some of the solutions that some of the problems that you realized in the farming industry on a practical basis, and what is that solution that you thought of which would help the farmers in general?
One of the major of the thing which I noticed is there is no monitoring of crop health or the soil health. There is no automation as well. And after that, this is all the problems which I saw during the production while harvesting the crop. But after they grow the crop, the problem starts from there as well. Like for example, if you grown very well and you use all these solutions and all those sort of things, still there's a lot of problem to be solved into the marketplace side and into the supply chain side. The way right now agro products are moved into the market and reached to the final consumer is in very unorganized manner, due to which the cost of supply chain is very high. For example, there's a tomato which is grown by certain farmer and he's selling his tomatoes in 10 rupees per carat, and in one carat around 10 to 15 kgs of tomato is there. So once it will reach to the market, the cost will be increased to 40 to 50 rupees per carat. And then when we will buy it in somewhere around, if we are buying it in 20 rupees or 30 rupees per kg. So per carat price will be reached to somewhere, I think 300 around. So you can see the inefficiency in the supply chain as well. So this is the place where we are still figuring out how we can go ahead and solve the things in the supply chain. And government also realized this during the lockdown period only, that this is the place where we need to pay a lot of attention, and we also should start working upon post-harvest management and the food processing sector as well. Because what is happening in India is growing a lot of crop. For every crop, if you will see, India is the top producer in every crop. For example, if you are talking about rice or wheat, India is in top 5 or top 10 position entire world. But the thing is, we are not processing those crops and agro production into our country. What we are doing is, we are growing it in our country and then we are sending it to another country and they are processing it, and then they are making a product out of it and they are selling it back to us.
That must be very costly then.
Yeah, and like we are in economy point of view also, it's very sad thing that we are not, as a developing country, we are not able to process our own food. By processed food, I mean jam, jelly, sauce, and all those sort of things. There are few plants, food processing plant in India, but they are mostly owned by the foreign or the outsiders, big FMCG players who are not actually Indian companies. There's a very big space available for new age entrepreneurs to come forward and start working upon the supply chain, and there's a very high need of cold supply logistics and cold supply chain which is not present currently. There's a reason why the price is increased. You might be thinking that due to middleman only the price is getting increased in every hop of the supply chain, but that's not the actual fact. The thing behind the increase in price or the inefficiency of supply chain hides behind the way it's been transported. So on an average, there's a 30% loss in every hop of transportation. From hop, I mean that each middleman who is getting involved is losing 30% of the crop while transporting or while selling it to the next.
And why might that be?
Due to inefficient way of transporting it or supplying it to the next chain. There is no proper cold supply chain available for this. This is one of the reason the price is increased. No doubt middleman is also manipulating with the price, but there are other factors as well which are responsible example of the increase of the price in the middle of the supply chain.
I never knew about that. It's actually a huge loss and a very inefficient way of managing things. So, one thing which I would like to ask you is when you were starting this venture of yours, as you stated that you're trying to bring in technology into the agriculture sector, starting from monitoring the soil, bringing in automation, trying to, educate the farmers. So, one thing which primarily I would like to ask you is since most of the farmers are illiterate in India and do not have that level of education, so giving them the power of handling technology at this level, what challenges do you see in them adopting this? I'm pretty sure the technology is good or product is really good, but personally I feel it will be a huge challenge for the farmers to adopt this style of work. So how do you think would you tackle this?
So the way we are tackling it is in the starting only I was very much aware about these challenges, and I actually did a market survey why farmers are not using this agro technologies which is already available into the market from the European countries. So one of the reason is they were not able to interact with all these technologies. So one thing which I realized is the UI of these technologies or the front end of these technologies should be very much farmer friendly, and one of the way to do this is usage of more and more icons and usage of the regional language inside the applications or whatever front end which you are using. It can be a web app or it can be a mobile app. Whatever technology it is, it should be very much farmer friendly, and the user experience should be of a very low level. For example, one of the things which we use in to ensure that is we use monochrome designs. So what is monochrome design is taking things in a very simpler way. For example, there should be a just one or two screens in the entire solution of your app, and in those one and two screens only we should integrate everything in such a way that farmer can easily understand and interact with the tech which we are building. Still, there is lot of challenges. Even if you correct all the UI UX, still there are a lot of ignorance from the farmer side as well. That's why Sangawari is being registered as NPO so that we can get external funding as well to run our awareness campaigns and to make pilot projects in every area where farmers can come and get to know and get educated about all these technologies and the benefits about all these technologies.
Seems like a big problem, and I'm happy that you're tackling it and you are trying to spread the awareness in the farming industry. So that's actually a really good plan. So what are your future plans with Sangawari? Like we talked about how you have developed sensors and sensor mechanisms and apps to manage, the soil and the nutrients in the soil, or let's say the supply chain problems that you might be solving, or the drone project that you're working on, or the incubation center that you're working on. So what are your future plans regarding this?
So actually, one of the way we are thinking to go ahead is as we are working from past 1 year, we also experienced many of the things while working into the field and while working with the farmers. We actually need to test all our products thoroughly before coming into the market, because if there will be any sort of error, it will set a very wrong example for the farmers and they will not be able to use agrotech again because they will be so much afraid of it. So that is one of the reasons our products are not readily available into the market right now, because we are thoroughly testing it for any error possible in the future. There are many things which we realize, for example, the power cuts or the network loss, and there are multiple point of errors which we were ignorant about, but while actually testing it in our own pilot field, we realized that we should start solving all those errors. And then second thing we are thinking about is making all the projects which we are working upon in Sangawari into an open source project, so that all the contributors of open source environment can make this product in a very industrial level. Also, it will be very easy for our volunteers to build their own ventures out of it. For example, if we build something in a smart irrigation system and we put it out, so they itself can come forward, they can make their own product from the resources available, and then they can even sell it off their own brand. Many players coming into the market. One of the solution to execute and to implement agro technologies or to reach each and every farmer. Like if only one organization will try to solve everything, then it will be hard for us. That's why we are started, we can say, delegating things by going open source and then opening an incubation cell. This is one of our future plan. Delegate things to other people in the industry who can take it forward in a much more efficient and much more dedicated way.
That's a noble plan. Hearing about how you want to open it to others and bring in other players and promote them to build their own ventures out of your knowledge and out of your research, that's actually a very noble idea. And hopefully, you'll garner more and more success in this aspect as well.
Thanks a lot, Anshul. Actually, the main motive of Sangavari is not selling of any technologies or not selling of any product. Our main aim is to reach and empower each and every farmer possible in India.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, lastly, and I think it would be a good note from your side to all the listeners and to me as well, that since we, the public, are so unaware about this industry and do not have much knowledge about it, and we also do not know where and how to contribute in this sector in whatever way we can. So, if you could give us some inputs or point us some ways on how we could contribute to benefit the farming industry, because essentially our food, our source of living comes from them. So if we don't support them, our entire country will break down. If you could advise us in that sector, it would be great.
One of the things which Sangavari does, because we believe that each and every youth should know how to grow their food, and they should have an experience of agriculture in certain ways. Actually, Sangavari has a volunteership program in which if you have any area of interest or if you are expert in any of the field, for example, someone is expert in IoT technology or someone is expert in digital marketing or someone is expert in graphic design, they can come forward and register in our website, that's sangavari.org. There's a whole team working behind processing all the volunteership requests and all, and putting people, classifying them into groups based upon their area of interest. For example, if you will go to our social media page, there are multiple posts available. So all those posts were made by our volunteers only. If you are good enough and you think that you can teach others as well, so you can come forward and teach other volunteers from tier 2, tier 3 cities who don't have much experience and knowledge in their field. So you can tell them how they can pursue their career into that field, or you can educate initial step proceed into that particular industry. In graphic designing, already our volunteers are performing very well, and few people got such a good mentorship from our core team members. They actually got placed in certain IT companies. Even in digital marketing, few people got placed. Even in app development field also, our volunteers did very well. I can request all the listeners that if they want to contribute to our agriculture industry, they can join us. Even if they are very much confident that they can be a mentor, they can, instead of applying for a volunteer program, they can apply for a mentor program, and they can send us their mentorship request, and then our team will test whether they are eligible to teach our volunteers or not. And once we will find out that they are eligible enough to teach our volunteers, then it will be our pleasure to have them in our.
This is an awesome initiative, Navdeep, and I would personally urge to everybody, howsoever small my listenership is, but if anybody is interested in this field and would want to even volunteer some amount of their time to the betterment of farming industry, go ahead to sangavari.org. I will put all the links, all the social media links in my description so that you can reach out to them very easily and contribute in whatever way you can. But thank you so much, Navdeep, for coming here and educating us about the farming industry and the effort that you are personally and your team is putting into this venture.
Thanks a lot, Anshul.
Even if we get one volunteer out of my listeners, I would be really happy that I could contribute even in the smallest of ways. And all power to Navdeep and his team for doing this. And if people are interested and want to know more about this industry and what is going on in farming and agriculture, we can bring Navdeep back in. But again, thank you so much, Navdeep, and soon we'll be hearing back from you and catch up with you. Chalo, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to all the listeners. I'll catch up with you again soon with someone new and lots of interesting discussions. So, bye.